what time it is. Word up. KRS-One coming through. All you MCs out there, switch your position and come to Listen Vision, DC's #1 recording studio. This is how we go, you can check your whole flow. All them studios, they overcharging us. You gotta come to Listen Vision and get with us. This is DC's #1 recording spot. This is KRS-One. What up, K-Dot? My man DJ Boom, they got a whole room that they can get down with. I hope to see you soon. Come down to Listen Vision and switch your position. Real hip hop. Listen Vision, Listen Vision, DC's #1 recording studio. Listen Vision, DC's #1 recording studio.
Listen to my man KRS. Hit us up in the studio at 202-332-8494.
The internet, it's listenvision.com, you bet. This is KRS-One and I'm out, black.
Listen up, listen now, listen clear. Listen Vision, the place you gotta come here. We got the recording gear for you to have a career.
Street techniques and beats.
We Pro Tool engineers. If you or if you rhyme, whatever your kind, we specialize independent and unsigned. Beats hot as Tahiti, come through and pick up a CD. Production design, even promotion on MTV. Hit us up on the net whenever you log on. www.listenvision.com.
Oh my God, this looks like a toy store. That's crazy. Hey everybody, I'm Jeremy Beaver, CEO and founder of Listen Vision. And we are live here today with someone very, very special, Rochelle Wilson. Rochelle, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Jeremy. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Well, why do I have Rochelle? As I steal her book, this is why I have Rochelle. Hey everybody. How was your 2016? Was it as crappy as mine? Do you want to make lots of money in 2017? Stay tuned. That's what we're here to talk about. But let me stop joking for a second and let me be serious. You know, Rochelle is incredibly accomplished, and she doesn't just have a BA, okay, from GW in early childhood education, but she also has a master's degree in organizational leadership, okay? This woman has been a teacher, an instructional coach, a principal, a director of school culture for over 2 decades, 20 years. This person that's with me is a very special person. She is a speaker, an author, an educator, a mentor, a business and a career coach, an ordained minister. Yeah, I'm not done. I'm not done. You've seen her book and you've seen her work on Education Week, The Current, Trinity Broadcasting Network, The Washington Post. She's a consultant for the State Education Agency and currently the director for the Office of the State Superintendent of Education. Oh my God, officially my longest intro I have ever given. Rochelle Wilson, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks again. I'm so grateful.
I just only like to have superstars. And District Spotlight is a show where, well, first of all, I never wanted to do a show. I'm the general manager of the radio station. Everyone knows that. I didn't want to be in front of the cameras, but I was forced to. Why? Because we have so many talented people here in Washington, D.C. that need some recognition and need some attention because most of the folks I interview can really help the people that are listening. Okay? So let me just get right into it. And for anyone that is interested in, stepping up their career and their finances in 2017, we're going to get through the whole book, all 6 steps. But tell us from a mental perspective, a mind state. What type of mind state does a person have to be in to approach your, strategies?
Well, Jeremy, I would say that that's a perfect question because a lot of times we think that, when we get the money, everything else will just be perfect. And I remember when I experienced my first six-figure experience by way of, flipping properties, and I thought I had made it. I grossed close to $300,000, and I lost that money in 1 year because my mindset hadn't shifted. I come from humble beginnings, and so for me, that money presented an opportunity for me to get all the things that I didn't have. But that was minus the wisdom around financial and money management. And so subsequently, I lost those dollars, and I had to work really hard to get them again. And so you have to be in the mindset by which you want to see every single dollar grow. You want to see it expand, and you want to be responsible for the economy by which you are part of. And that means being clear about where you're spending your money.
Why do you think you, and this is a setup, why do you think you are uniquely suited to tell people about transformations?
I think that's also another great question, because I also consider myself a transformational mentor. I have a program by which I transform the lives of people. We start with personal development, financial empowerment, and then we have career and business development. I'm the person that can help you because I know what it's like not to have. And my life has been transformed. I know what it's like not to have clothes. I know what it's like to not to have heat, and I know what it's like not to have transportation. I also know what it's like to work really hard. I know what it's like to make decisions around my career, my businesses. I know what it's like to say, I'm not getting paid for this opportunity, but someday I will. And leveraging projects and leveraging tasks to increase my financial capacity. I know what it's like to really have six figures in the bank. I know what it's like to make sound financial decisions. I know what it's like to spend. I know what it's like to hold back. I know what it's like to give because I can give. And so I'm that person that can talk to you about that because I really have the results.
You do have the results, and I'm not gonna, he's got pictures of this all around, but when I listen to this woman, she's so incredibly inspiring, and she, started life at a really early age with a really big life lesson. Do you want to tell people about what happened at age 15?
Yeah, so I became pregnant at the tender age of 15. I remember transitioning from middle school, and my son was in hard bottom shoes, and he was on my side, and I had my cap and gown. But I made one bad decision. And that one bad decision could have really cost me my life. And I'm grateful for people that inspired me. And I'm grateful for this opportunity to inspire. But I dropped out of high school because at that point, I didn't know what to do with my life. I felt like I had missed so much time in school. And I just decided that I was just going to be a part of my environment, a product of my environment. And that was most of the people that I saw on a daily basis didn't have a work ethic. They didn't go to school. They didn't have a career. They didn't have a business endeavor. They just stayed home and either used drugs or sold drugs or did something that was not productive. And so I was able to make the decision to stay home for about 6 months until one person said, listen, you've got to get some education. You've got to figure out how you're going to change your life. And it was also an aha moment for me because I said, okay, I've got to be able to create a better quality of life that I didn't have. I can't do that in my current state. I've got to ascertain some knowledge. I've got to be able to be a productive citizen in society. I've got to be able to maximize opportunities. And the only way I can do that is with education.
But there's a lot of teenagers who accidentally get pregnant and who find themselves in difficult situations who don't come away with that. What do you think? Because I promise you, right this moment, there is a teenager out there, a young person who's watching, who has a young child, and they're wondering how, in my opinion, how they can change their mind state to accept what you're trying to give them. In my personal opinion, as a business owner, small business owner, someone who's attained the things that you talk about, when Steve Harvey says to all these people who are at home during the day on the couch, you just need to jump, I wonder if the people who really need to jump understand what he's talking about. You and I have actually jumped. So when we hear him say that, we go, okay, well, that makes sense. We had to jump, and now we're on that other side. But if you've never leapt before, just saying, hey, you got to take a leap, it's almost like this meaningless statement. What inspired you? I mean, just someone saying, hey, you got to get some education. I feel like, what was it for you?
I'll take the Steve Harvey analogy around jumping. I think for me, what prompted me to jump was knowing what I was jumping from and what I was jumping to. I did not want to be my mother in a room, and God bless her, I love her for all that she had the ability to do for me and what she couldn't do for me. But I didn't want to be behind those closed doors using drugs. I didn't want to be my uncle upstairs with a heroin needle in his arm. And I just didn't want to be the mother that was trying to figure out what was going to be on the stove for dinner, because I remember those days where we only had one can of something that came from the government agency, and I just didn't want that. But I knew that if I jumped a little, that education would push me a little, because I saw the results of people that had education. And I had no idea that I would be making 6 figures plus. I had no idea that I would be in education 20 years. I just knew that education was going to be a key to unlock a door.
I got literally chill bumps all over my body. And I experienced this myself. I experienced education transforming me and my attitude. So when you talk about this, you know, it's someone who has to have used school, you know, to help and change and transform their lives, to understand, yes, I think, even what you're saying. Yes. And for any high school kids, I think, that are out there and watching or listening, especially our clients, you know, here at Listen Vision, I'm telling you right now, college seems like an expensive and difficult and maybe unrealistic endeavor. But I'm going to tell you from my experience, maybe you concur with me, that just the going to school, being in the environment, just learning how to learn itself was just as valuable as the knowledge we took on.
Yes, I concur. And if I can say this, Jeremy, I remember being in high school, and I'm a product of DC Public Schools, and so there's some great things that can come from our homegrown school district. But I remember being part of an environment where school was not important, and so I had to glean from practitioners, I had to glean from educators, I had to glean from the people in my school. And I remember there were 2 instrumental adults that really inspired me to take that jump, and it was my librarian and my creative writing teacher. The one thing that she said, even after my school counselor said, you should go to community college because, you know, you just had a baby and you don't meet the profile to go to any university or college. And I couldn't believe that she would even encouraged me to do beneath the norm. And so I remember the librarian saying, don't let money be a reason why you don't go to school. Because at that moment I was looking at how was I going to pay for college? And I pursued. It was hard for me because, you know, with a baby I struggled academically, worked really hard to get to a place where I could even complete a college application. And luckily, I got accepted to the 3 universities that I applied for. And I decided to go to George Washington University because I had the baby and I knew I couldn't travel. And so I wanted an experience for me that would make me feel like I was not in the city, although I was in the city. And so that's why I picked that school. But for me, it was, once she said that, it was like, I'm not worried about the money.
Do we remember her name? We're going to remember her name. I didn't mean to put you...
Her first name is Gwendolyn.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot like that.
Her first name is Gwendolyn, and the creative writing teacher's first name is Anthony.
Listen, these Gwendolyns and these Anthonys,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Anyone that has ever gotten to the level of 6 figures, gotten to a successful level as you have, will tell you the Gwendolyns and the Anthonys, for me, the Kenneths.
Wow.
For me, the Lindas, the Darshans of the world. It's special, isn't it?
Yeah,
I get really choked
yeah,
up even
yeah,
just thinking
yeah,
about, like,
yeah.
I exist, you know what I mean?
Yep,
Because of these
yep,
people, and we
yep.
exist. And let's take a break before I totally break down into tears. You know what I mean? Let's play a little bit of maybe some music, a promo or something like that. We'll be back with District Spotlight right after this, and Rochelle Wilson.
Listen up, listen now, listen clear. Listen vision, the place you gotta come here. We got the recording gear for you to have a career.
Big techniques and beats.
We Pro Tool engineers. If you or if you rhyme, whatever your kind, we specialize independent and unsigned. Beats hot as Tahiti, come through and pick up a CD. Production design, even promotion on MTV. Hit us up on the net whenever you log on. www.listenvision.com.
Gave my best to some who only gave their worst, but that's alright. I never had your love, well you won't be the last, knowing you my first, so that's alright. 'Cause this life
Listen Vision, Raekwon the Chef.
You heard it first, y'all. Listen Vision Studio.
You guys are about to sign CNN. I'm on board.
What? This is Raekwon the Chef, if the nigga don't know.
I think I've heard of that somewhere.
You know what it is, man. Classic, legendary nigga.
KRS to Raekwon.
I take this music shit extra serious.
If this is what real hip hop's all about.
Listen Vision Studio, whatever y'all fucking need. Yo, when I'm in the town, I'm coming here getting it in anyway. So
Yes, this shit is
boom, come in there.
shit door.
Start to scream out loud.
Wu-Tang's back for more.
That's what you fight in a Cold War.
Oh, fucking man.
And plus the Cold War.
Yeah, y'all, Raekwon the Chef in the building. All day, every day, live from New York all the way to DC. DC, 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 DC.
DC's #1 recording studio.
Yeah, y'all, this is Raekwon the Chef. Check out www.listenvision.com for the sickest beats in the nation. You know what time it is. They represent the capital. Hold it down, kid. Listenvision.com. 100, drop that beat, boom. Get your money, mommy. Get your money, mommy. Get your money, mommy. Give her that love. Give her that love. Give her that love. Yeah, every day, man. It's all real, man. You gotta be flipping with Listen Vision, you heard? They got the illest beats in the city. Word up, this is Ray right here, Raekwon the Chef, Wu-Tang. Get ready, man, cause I'm gonna show y'all what time it is, man. I flip with Listen Vision, so represent, keep making them strong beats in the city. Hold it down, one. This is Ray right here, representing them 9 swordsmen from Shaolin. Get your money, mommy. Get your money, mommy. Get your money, mommy. Give her that love, give her that love, give her that love, give her that love, give her that love. Listen Vision Studio, you know what it is, man. Boom, family. Appreciate the love, man. Shaolin, I just back all day. Peace.
Hey, we're back. It's always like so shocking when we come back. I don't know. But you were just watching Raekwon of the Wu-Tang Clan, a client of Listen Visions.
Oh, awesome.
Who else is a client of Listen Vision? Wait, where's my finger? There. Ghostface. Ghostface, new addition to the hip-hop doll family here. We do this just to keep your eyes entertained. The ears, we got the ears. These are for the eyes. Anyways, you know, what we've been talking with, Rochelle about, we've been talking about six figures. We've been talking about education. We've been talking about life transformation. We've been talking about life obstacles. Do you know what I mean? How do you deal with obstacles in life? And Rochelle was just imparting this, great story about, her creative writing teacher and her librarian who encouraged her to go to school properly, like a real university. And she chose GW. And, so kind of my first question, because I went to GW and we have that in common, is do you think that your 6 steps to 6 figures is obtainable without an undergraduate or doctor's degree or master's degree?
Another great question, Jeremy. I talk about this in the book because part of really understanding the route you need to take is establishing goals. And part of the goal setting process really involves identifying the types of credentials you need based on the industry that you're in. And so, no, I say very clearly in the book that there are a lot of people in society that have been successful, that are 6-figure plus, 7, 8 millionaires without degrees. But in order for you to really get to that place, you have to know that on the front end. You don't just arrive there. And so for me, because I selected education, I needed some degrees. And I remember the point where I had hit the cap ceiling, where I wanted to transition financially in the same organization that I was in. And I was told that I couldn't cross over because I didn't have a master's degree. And so I remember what it felt like to be in a room after I'd worked so hard. The output was intensive. And so I thought that I was going to get the promotion because of that, but the credentials or the lack thereof blocked me. And so for me, I had to start planning around next steps for the credentials that I needed to cap out financially. So I knew in order for me to cross over, in order for me to even hit 100, that I was going to have to get a master's degree. Others could be in industries by which the salary points are different and you don't necessarily need a master's, but you have to really identify what industry you're in and the salary scale that's connected to it. I talk about also this in the book. There's some industries where you just need a certification. And if that's the industry you're in, you got to know that on the front end, because you wouldn't want to waste $100,000 on a degree when you can spend maybe $1,200 per class and get a certification and get a $5,000 increase.
That's a big takeaway. I want to pause right there, and I want to reiterate what you just said, because I think right now in 2017, education's become so expensive that we need kids should not just blindly choose college. They should consider maybe what industry you're getting into.
Yes.
Okay? If you're going to actually, this is interesting. We had an old staff here whose wife got a degree in animal reproduction and works at the National Zoo. I say this very specific example, and I won't tell you exactly what she does. It's kind of gross. But I don't think you could do it without a very specialized degree in zoology and mating and all sorts of stuff that she does. So if you're going to maybe, if your passion maybe is pottery, right? Then you need to consider, how could I maybe get just as much knowledge and learning and education, for art or painting without having to spend $250,000 on GW, which literally is $250,000.
Absolutely, yeah. I see it all the time.
What do you think the commonality is between 6-figure earners? Successful 6-figure earners, not people who want to go jump off a bridge any day now. I'm talking about, do you feel like how much you enjoy what you do has anything to do with your ability to get to 6 figures?
Of course. I mean, I think you absolutely have to be passionate about what you do, whether it's in business, on the business side, because you can launch a business because it's trendy, but what happens when you don't get the customers, and what happens when you don't get the feedback? What is going to be the thing that drives you every day? What will be the thing that will get you to sit at a table all day and you don't have any sales? It really has to be the passion behind it. Now, there will be times where you may have to put yourself in a position career-wise or business-wise and you're not fulfilled. But that's when you're starting to leverage. You should be at a position where you're leveraging maybe multiple streams of incomes, because, in order for some people to get to 6 figures, you're going to need multiple streams.
Hold on. Say that again? I something caught in my ear. How do you get to 6 figures again?
Some people will need multiple streams.
Multiple streams. What does that mean? When you say multiple streams?
Multiple streams of income means that you have multiple ways to get money. You have multiple ways to have finances come your way, because for some individuals, it may not be your job. It may not be your 9 to 5. Your 9 to 5 may get you 80, and maybe you added on the side, and that's another 20, and maybe you get another 10 from him from this place. That may be the way that you bring your six figures. For me, it was one stream, and so my other streams just added. But again, you have to have the passion. And so for me, being in education, there have been times where it's just like, okay, I'm not necessarily liking this particular work stream, but my passion for change, my passion to create quality opportunities for education is the thing that keeps me. So I talk about things like this in the book, where if you're in a dead-end situation in a job, how can you look at that job and see it as a funding source for something else?
This is a great example of kind of what we try to do here with our radio station, actually. The people that we've seen and that I've seen specifically, become successful, while, yes, they have multiple streams, they are still able to focus and concentrate on maybe that like 80-20 rule. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that 80% of their income is coming from the one thing that they're really good, they're really excellent at, they're an educator, they're a dentist, whatever, you know what I mean, that is. But I think what I've discovered in my own personal life is that if you don't have another 20 on top of the 80 coming from investments, coming from, here at Listen Vision, we have a record label that does a really good amount of licensing and publishing and digital distribution. If you don't have other sources of income, then you're stuck with just the 80.
Yeah.
And sometimes that 80 isn't even 100% enough to pay 100% of the bills.
Exactly.
How do you suggest people diversify without spreading themselves thin? I see a lot of my clients here at Listen Vision try to be a jack of all trades, but an ace of not one.
Yep.
How do you avoid that?
So again, I think it's really about understanding where your money needs to go. Understanding that one stream could end today. And again, what is going to be the 20? What are you investing in? I mean, from day one, when I got married, my husband and I, we have been investing so long. I think the basic rule of investing is that you should have some stocks in the basic brands that you patronize. If you love Starbucks, if you love Target, you should invest money in where you're spending money. You have to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position where your money is coming back to you in some kind of way. You also want to be in a position where you can save. I think the problem that I'm seeing today is that individuals aren't putting themselves in a position where they can save. And so what's happening, they don't really have the startup capital, right? So you're entrepreneur, you're full-time entrepreneur, but you don't really have the funds, or you're in a career, you're not getting compensated the way you should, but you don't have any other streams to help with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, I've been in positions where I've been, I sat on a job, for multiple years without getting increases. And people didn't know how I was surviving. It was because I had those other streams. So the passion kept me there when the paycheck didn't, because I had these other streams coming in, helping to push, helping to move so that I could create consistency, because no one wants to hire you if you're jumping all over the place. So that's the second thing, really putting yourself in a position where people want you, right? And knowing that you may not get paid today, but you will get paid later. And then just saving. I can't stress saving enough. You can save at every level.
What would you say to someone who's listening, who's saying to themselves, right now, in my current job, I cannot save. My bills exceed or match the amount, of money that I'm getting. What would you say to that person?
You've got to do a financial audit. Now, by no means do I subscribe to be a financial expert, but there are some basic principles that I've lived by over the last decade or so, and you've got to really look at your finances. You've got to audit what you're doing, because there are always opportunities for you to save. It baffles me a little bit in the workplace when I see people who buy breakfast every day, they buy lunch every day, they buy snacks every day.
Oh, let's stop
they go to
right
Starbucks.
on that one.
And I'm a Starbucks fan.
No, but I am too, and I'm drinking one of my addictions here and a sponsor, Runna Clean Energy. It's organic. Please buy their drinks. They sponsor us. No, I have my addictions too, but my wife and I work really hard to try to figure out what we consider like a luxury. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And what we can do without. You just brought up something really good. And listen, I'm not a financial expert. I've done pretty well for myself. I'm not a financial expert. I'm going to give you guys one piece of advice right now. Let's see what Rochelle thinks of this. Turn your cable off. That's my advice right now. Turn your cable off. Why? I'm watching all of my TV that I used to watch online for free on the internet.
Yep.
And I literally just like did away with the $200 bill. Also, I came home and nobody was paying attention to me. They were watching the TV. So psychologically, we benefited as well.
Yes. You
What
got
are
more
some of the
attention.
things? I think this is a great thing to talk about. Wiley, get some music queued up because in a second after we talk about this, we'll go to a little music break and then we'll come back on some of the actual strategies of how to get to that six-figure thing. But right now, let's get some music queued up and let's talk about real quickly. What are some of the things? You talk about doing an audit. We do that here at Listen Vision all the time. What are some of the small things that people can think about cutting out, or how they can rethink their bills in order to maximize the amount of money they take home?
You can cut out eating out a lot. You can cut out, if you love to shop, you can cut back. There were times where I just didn't shop for a year. Or, women, we like to groom. Maybe I didn't spend so much on my nails, or maybe I didn't spend so much on my hair, or maybe I let things stretch out longer than they should to save money. You've got to really look at every single dollar that's going out and say to yourself, should I keep this, or is it necessary to release it? Even if you're making $20,000, depending on what your bills are, you have an opportunity to still think about what is going out and maximizing what you can save, even if it's $5 a pay period. You can't afford not to save, because if you're talking about being an entrepreneur, if you're talking about being, in this day and time, in this economy, on any job, you're going to need a cushion. And most of us in our communities, we do not even have the 6-month buffer that most financial experts will tell you. But yet we are full-time entrepreneurs. We are doing all of these endeavors that will put yourself in a very vulnerable position financially. And what we're seeing more individuals just capping out because they don't have the financial capacity. So this is really about helping you build the financial capacity where you are. Maybe it is you don't go to Starbucks 5 days a week, it's 2. And maybe the 2 days you don't get a venti, you get, a tall. I say Starbucks a lot because I love Starbucks. And so it's kind of like a stress reliever for me.
Or even just being conscious
yes.
of your purchasing habits.
Yes.
I think, myself and my wife are probably guilty of the kind of like zombie Starbucks run. You know what I mean? Where you don't even think about the money.
Yep.
You just like, I need coffee, And those are really important things to consider. I think right now we're going to go to a little music break, a little break here. And when we come back, what I want to talk to everybody about is owning a business, starting a business, and the importance of being an entrepreneur and being a small business owner here in the United States. So stay with us. This is District Spotlight. We're here with Rochelle Wilson, and we'll be right back after this break.
Hey.
everybody? Jeremy Beaver here, CEO and founder of Listen Vision, here with the one and only Rochelle Wilson telling us the 6 steps to 6 figures. And I don't know if your 2016 was like my 2016, but I'm going to need about at least 5.5 of those steps right about now. So, one of the things that I always talk about as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, as kind of like I bill myself kind of as a tech-savvy person trying to innovate. What do you think this country has set up for entrepreneurs? Like, do you think that this country is a good place to be an entrepreneur and start a small business, or not a good place?
Well, based on my experience, I will say that it's been good. And based on the experience of others that I've encountered, I would say that it's fair game. I think when you even look at DC, there's so many programs out there for the small business if you start right. Part of the problem is we just start a business and we don't even start with the basis like getting out EIN numbers. And I think people are kind of getting up to speed with that. But even basic things like, what does it mean to have a small business in your state?
What's an EIN? Go ahead. I know what this is, but I know that we have listeners that are going to benefit from us describing some of these things. Tell the people what EIN stands for.
It's your identification number for your business.
Right.
And so it's the number that is assigned to your business that allows you to establish credit. And here's the other thing. If you're not sound financially, personally, you're probably not going to be sound with your business. And so you get a credit score for your business too.
Okay, so let's describe a couple things. When you want to start a small business, a lot of people, before they incorporate, they become a sole proprietorship.
Yep.
Now, the interesting thing about that, or the negative thing, is what you just said. If you have bad credit, and you are bad with money, your business's credit and your business's operating expenses is now your expenses. It's one and the same.
Yep.
So let's go to step 2. Let's say you're decent with money, you got a good idea, you want to get out there and try something. You need to incorporate either as an LLC, limited liability corporation, an LLP, limited liability partnership, an S Corp or a C Corporation. And those are different types of tax differentiation. And so if you say you want to set up an LLC like Listen Vision, you will be assigned an FEIN, which is a Federal Employee Identification Number, which means that we are an employer, so that now we can do business properly.
Yep.
When you want to start a business, let's say there's people watching who have small businesses. They design sneakers. Let's say they do art. Let's say they're an author. They have one book. What is one of the very first initial steps after getting things together that you advise people to do next?
I think you want to figure out what the structure needs to be. I remember when I started my first business, which I'm proud of. It was educational consulting business, the official one. I had some smaller businesses before then, but it was called educationalservices.com. And so I wanted to just kind of offer educational consulting services. And for me, honestly, I couldn't afford the fees associated with the other structures. Now, I did my research, which is what you have to do. You have to do your research around the type of company that you want to be, not where you are. Even if you're a small business, if you feel like you're going to grow to be, Fortune 500 company, you have to grow to the structure. But those structures come with different fees. And so for me, the least expensive option was the sole proprietorship. Now, I understand that if I make a mistake under the sole proprietorship, it's going to all fall on me. So if I mess up a client's garment or something, they're not only going to sue the business, but they're going to sue me. And so you just need to weigh the risk around the type of business you have. Do you need any kind of trademarking? But all of it, again, is going to require the resources. Right? So if you're starting a business and you want to do, LLC or LLP, you're going to need the fees for that. And so if you're at zero because you haven't saved and you haven't managed your money, that's base level. You don't even have the financial capacity to set up your structure. And so what I did, I moved from, of course, sole proprietorship into, LLCs and partnerships and things like that. But you've got to do your research. You've got to figure out, is this going to be really big or is this just going to be small? Because even if you're sole proprietorship, you still need to get a small business license.
Right.
And you got to make sure that
Right.
in DC, for example, do you have the dimensions in terms of room space?
Right.
And so there's so many different facets to how you establish your business, whether you're doing sole proprietorship, and when you grow and you do these other things, they're more defined in terms of your roles and the roles of other people that are connected. So you can't just wake up one day and say that you're going to be a business and get a business card. You've got to figure out what structure you're going to have.
If anyone's listening, what I'm taking away from this is that so entrepreneurship and getting into business, starting a business, great, obviously. But I think what really needs to be thought about is getting your own finances, your own budget, and your own kind of life in order, okay? Rochelle has some really great tips and some really great, just really simple, doable ideas here in this book. I really suggest you go out and get it. It's available right now on Amazon. Okay, and what I want you, and at successgeeks.com,
yes.
And what I want people to do from this show is I want them to think about, first, are they ready as an individual? This is because I'm getting counseled by you. I'm getting a whole free, career counseling here.
And that's what I do, business coach and career coach.
So if you're a career coach and I come to you, and I have my life in disarray, I'm guessing the first thing you're going to say is, hey, you got to get your own personal stuff together, and then we can talk about the structure of your company. Now, once we've gotten that down, okay, and obviously you have to buy the book. She's not going to give you, that's not how life works. You don't get a free lunch anywhere in life, okay? So go buy this book, okay? 6 Steps to 6 Figures. Why? There's only 6 of them. Yes. If you can't figure out 6 steps, then you're not meant to have 6 figures. I mean, I've discovered money is only as good as the career that it's based off of. So, for instance, if you're a vegetarian and you're making $250,000 a year slaughtering pigs, your quality of life isn't, everything has to line up together. From a spiritual standpoint, I've got my company, let's say, like you said, it's a garment company. I'm a clothing company. I'm selling T-shirts. So I'm passionate about it because I designed the T-shirts myself, okay? And I finally just got myself out of debt. I took your advice. I spent 2 years cleaning up my credit, getting myself out of debt, and now I have a clothing company. I've started to make a few designs. Maybe I have a basic website. Now what?
That's a great question. From a spiritual standpoint, I'm glad you mentioned that because I think, no matter what you subscribe to in terms of, your religious beliefs and higher powers, I think there has to be some spiritual power governing what you are doing. And that has always been the foundation for me. I've always operated from certain biblical principles, not just personally, but with my business, as it relates to my finances, as it relates to sowing, as it relates to tithing, and as it relates to putting God first. That's been what I've done, and I've been able to see the fruit behind that. I think most successful people, if you look at Oprah, they all are very generous with giving back and paying it forward. So from a spiritual perspective, as you are growing, for me, I talk about this in the book, you always have to be in a position to pay it forward. Because when you release, you can receive. And it puts you in the space of this constant reminder of where you were. And then it also puts where you want to go before you. Because the more you give, the more you want to get more to give. And a lot of times we don't understand that that's the hidden passion that we don't have.
Is giving.
It's giving.
And you don't know until you do it, and you feel so good.
You feel really good to give back. I was telling you when we were on the break about my last event, and we did full makeovers for 5 women from So Others May Eat. Because organizations like Some helped me when I was a teen mom. Suited for Change gave me my first suit when I was on welfare, when I had the ID. And so giving back to those ladies, we gave them their clothes. They got free makeup. They got jewelry. For me as an entrepreneur and as a career person, that was a big deal for me to be able to have the financial capacity to even have an event and to sow and to give back. And we miss that because a lot of times, grassroots business endeavors sometimes don't have the financial capacity, but you have to plan that. You have to budget that because a lot of times people will give to your company because you are a giver. So from a spiritual perspective, it is what direction do you need your company to go into, and always seeking out that spiritual guidance for the next step.
People will give to you because you're a giver. I mean, I'm going to literally play this whole episode back 100 times. I think that's really important to know. It's a lesson that I've only recently learned. I admit, I only recently, I would say in the last 5 years, while Listen Vision is set up as a company to do nothing but help others. That's literally what we do. We record and make music and make people's dreams and art come true, okay? That's what we do as a function. But it wasn't until we took it on in our hearts that we have an obligation to our community to help that we started seeing it come back tenfold.
Wow.
And I think you really, lots of chill bumps over here. You really hit upon something, which is that even if you don't have much, you can still give, can't you?
You still can give.
How? I mean, I can think of a few different ways, but if you don't have much, but you believe in that principle that if you pay it, if you put it out, and if you give others, that it will come back to you in karma, in the universe. What are some of the things you can give if you don't have much?
As an entrepreneur, I remember, and I still to this day, I will do things like just give services. So, even if there's an endeavor that I could potentially participate in, but I don't have the finances, I will offer the services. Can I give you a coaching session? Can I give you a discount on some of the garments? In the workplace, I use the same principle, honoring leadership and sowing additional time. There's so many days where I would stay in the office, and still today, because I still work a 9 to 5, I'll stay late, and a lot of times people are thinking that I'm just kind of working on a project, but I'm just sewing into the agency because I want the agency and the company to understand that my level of commitment and dedication extends beyond the norm. So when you talk about positioning yourself, which is one of my steps, those are some of the things that you can do indirectly. When the agency head or the CEO or the president sees you there when they are leaving, that's a seed you're sowing. You may not get a return financially, but you will get a return because you've sown the gift of something that you didn't have to into the atmosphere.
How much did it cost you to stay late?
Some days it really cost me,
but not
at home,
financially.
But not
I mean,
financially.
there's not a dollar
not
sign.
Financially, Not financially. And I say that because a lot of times people don't have work-life balance, and I believe in that, and I learned that the hard way.
No, but you make such a good point in terms of trying to advance yourself. Sometimes doesn't cost any money.
No.
Do you know? And as an employer here, we have 17 employees. I will tell you, when we see folks putting in extra time, extra effort, staying late, coming in early, it costs them nothing, but their careers benefit exponentially. Yes. And I think you're really, what time are we at? I've lost myself here. It's 5:51. Okay, we got about 4 minutes left. Let's do this, Wiley. Let's cue up maybe a Listen Vision music video or something like that. Play some crazy stuff. Or even an ad or something, just to kind of change people's mind state just for a quick second. When we come back, what we're going to do is we're going to give you closing thoughts. We're going to give you that final gem, that nugget, that one, meaty morsel that might be holding you back. So if we can tell you what that little meaty morsel is, and you can remove it or you can address it and deal with it in 2017, maybe you should stay tuned. Maybe we have the keys to your 6 figures. I don't know. But stay tuned. Rochelle Wilson, we'll be right back after this break. District Spotlight.
Hip-hop lives, boy. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, education. Beats, rhymes, DJing, graffiti, all that good stuff. This is incredible. No, I'm DMC and I don't want to come and book time and make my demo and do the video.
This speech is my recital.
I think it's very vital to rock around. That's right.
On time.
It's tricky. It's the fight. Here we go.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is me, DMC, and the place to be. The only place for you to be is right here at Listen Vision, DC's #1 recording studio. The place to be. As long as I'm alive, hip-hop ain't dead. Ever since the day I walked this way, check out www.listenvision.com, the place for all of the illest beats. Listen Vision is so much more than music. You must learn. Yo, what's happening, man? This is DMC. This is the place to be with the one and only Steve.
Oh my goodness. Find me one other show that plays you a music video with Run DMC and also has the doll. Okay, yes, that's Run, and you were watching DMC, but you get the point. You get the point. Okay, you get the point. Anyways, little visual eye candy. We accidentally, I just got so engrossed in this conversation, we hit upon something, really kind of important, which is like this faith. And, early in the show, we talked about, jumping or that leap of faith. But what do you think, in 2017, there's going to be people that are going to try to change everything about their situation. They know that they can't get the same results with the same situation. They have to change up everything. And so they're going to take your advice. They're going to clean up their credit. They're going to start an LLC. They're going to get an EIN. They're going to trademark their name. They're going to give away these T-shirts or whatever, to famous folks. And they're going to do all the things we're telling them to do. But in order to unlock the financial reward, in order to unlock that deep found happiness, anyone that follows me on Facebook knows, I've been talking about how lucky I am despite all of the difficulty that this world and this country had this year, how lucky I still am to have all the great, awesome things I have in my life, in my world. If those people do all those things, how can they unlock the financial aspect to what you're teaching?
You're going to need a plan of action that really starts with one key word, one key action, and that is reflection. When I work with my coaching clients, this is the time of the year where we are looking at things that worked, things that didn't work, and things that they need to do when they cross over the new year. That's the only way you really can put this all in perspective. And so I create a win-win situation for people, and I simply say this: whatever you didn't do, whatever excuse you made this year, it's a lesson learned. It's the lesson that you need to learn to cross over. So if you didn't do because you spent too much money, stop spending so much money. If you didn't do because you didn't have the resources, identify the resources you need. If you didn't feel like you got the opportunity that you needed, then you go find the individuals that you need to connect with. But it starts with reflection. It also starts with identifying how much you want to make. See, on the back of this book, I say, yes, it's okay to want more. Because that's half of the battle, because we secretly want things that we think are really too much for us, right? And so it wasn't until I said, I want to make six figures.
That confidence and security has to be there.
I just want to make it.
Yeah,
I'm okay
yeah,
with that. And
yeah.
Understanding that working 9 to 5 really hard was not going to get me there. Because your boss may not always put you up for a promotion and you're working really good. It's not until you say, I want it, that you can strategically place yourself and place your task and know when to move and know when to stay, that you put yourself in the position of empowerment for six figures. So reflection and the voice with action steps will get you to a different place and a different experience that you had in 2016.
Reflection, confidence, and a plan.
And a plan.
Okay? If you haven't gleaned anything from this show, you probably not listening with the sound on. So turn the sound on. What's wrong with you? Listen, I gotta say, with all due respect to my past guests, this is like really one of my favorite shows. I really feel like we tapped into something special. I want to thank Rochelle for being on. I want you to all go out right now. Amazon.com. Okay, it's called 6 Steps to Six figures. It immediately pops up when you type it in. Go buy it.
Yes.
Why? It's not expensive. But what is expensive is not learning these lessons. What is expensive is spending the next 5-10 years under-earning, underachieving,
yes,
and not wanting more.
Yes.
Okay? Listen, I got to thank everyone out there for being with us. I got to thank everyone on Facebook. I got to thank Rochelle, her awesome husband, the beautiful kids. I mean, this is a great person whose life has embodied what she's trying to teach everybody. And I'll tell you, if she wasn't making six figures and hadn't come from such humble beginnings to transform her own life, I wouldn't have you on. I have you on because she lives and embodies this, okay? So every Friday, 5 o'clock, okay, we're going to be right here talking with someone new and someone special that you can learn from. So I really hope you catch us back here in 2017, which is next week, Friday, 5 o'clock, District Spotlight. My name's Jeremy Beaver. I'm the CEO and founder of Listen Vision, listenvision.com. Rochelle, can we just close with telling everyone how to find you and where to find you?
Sure. You can find me directly on my website, successgeeks.com. All of the information that you need to know. You can purchase the book. If you want to connect with me as your coach, as your mentor, I'm launching a great program, 60 for 6, 60 women to six figures. You still have time to be a part of that. I'm also on Facebook, Rochelle Wilson. My boutique, Ellacor Boutique, is on Instagram and Twitter. But primarily, if you search Rochelle Wilson, you will find me. Go to www.successgeeks.com and you'll find me there.
It's as good as it gets, you guys. We are closing out here. Please stay tuned for Mixtape Block Party Radio from 6 to 8, and then a special edition of the Entourage Hour and Scrogging with the Scrogger at 9 p.m. So stay tuned here to WLVSradio.com, and we'll see you next Friday.